Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Let's wait another minute and then we can get started. All right, it's 11:01 here in Boston, which means we are 1 minute in. So I think we should get started. Hey everyone, welcome to today's Tabnine live session. My name is Shantanu Kedar. I lead product marketing here at Tabnine, and with me is Chris Good. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, good morning. My name is Chris Good. I'm a product marketing manager here at Tabnine and excited to be on the call today and talk about this cool new code review agent.
No, thanks. And yeah, like in today's session, we'll be covering Tab9's code review agent. So this is our newest AI agent for software validation. So this was a functionality that we launched last week. And with this capability, you can codify your institutional knowledge into Tab9. Tab9 takes this information and creates rules for software validation. The code review agent checks your code in the pull request and in the ID against your set of rules. It flags deviations and, more importantly, offers suggestions on how to fix issues. So we'll be kind of covering the code review agent in more detail as we go along. Chris, next slide, please. All right. Before we dive into today's topic and the code review agent, let's spend a minute or two, and I can like provide an overview of Tab9, especially for folks who might not be familiar with what we do. So Tab9 is an AI code assistant that you control. We offer AI-powered chat and AI-powered code completion to accelerate your software development lifecycle. Tab9 also keeps your code private, secure, and compliant when it provides recommendations. Tabnine is the originator of the AI code assistant category. We introduced our first AI for, I should say, we introduced our first AI code completion tool for Java back in 2018. Uh, Today, Tabnine is powered by models from Tabnine. So that's Tabnine's proprietary models as well as leading models from third-party providers. Let me just double click on that topic to explain what it means. So as I mentioned, we have AI-powered chat, right? So when it comes to using the model for chat, we offer users complete flexibility. You can choose from Tab9's proprietary models, so that's Tab9 protected model and Tab9 plus Mistral, or you can choose a model from third-party providers. On the SaaS offering, we have Claude 3.5 Sonnet, we have GPT-4o, CodeStral from Mistral, and then Command R Plus from Cohere. The advantage with this approach is that you have flexibility when it comes to selecting the models. You're not locked into any of these models, and you can select the model based on your use case or business requirement. So, for example, if you're working on projects where you have strict requirements for license compliance and data privacy, you can use the Tab9 protected model. So this is a proprietary model from Tab9. We have trained it on code that is permissively licensed. So this way, the recommendations that you get back from Tab9, they do not match any proprietary code. So this eliminates any concerns around IP infringement. If you are working on projects where you do not have such strict requirements, you can use any of the models that are optimized for performance. So Claude 3.0 for Sonnet, that's considered like one of the most powerful models out there. That's available to you. So bottom line, the biggest advantage with the switchable models capability is that there's no LLM lock-in. It enables you to pick the right model for your use case or business requirement, and enables you to future-proof your AI strategy. Tab9 is a rapidly growing Series B startup. We are backed by top tier investors. So this includes Atlassian, Khosla Ventures. Chris, can you go one slide back?
Sorry about that.
No worries. So as I mentioned, Tab9, it's a Series B startup. We are backed by top tier investors. So this includes Atlassian Ventures, Khosla Ventures, Qualcomm, and Telstra. We support over 600 programming languages and frameworks. So this includes all the popular programming languages and frameworks. We support all the major IDEs, so fully integrated into VS Code, JetBrains family of IDEs, Eclipse, as well as Visual Studios. Tabnine is a clear leader in this space. We have over 1 million active users who are using the product across thousands of companies. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight on this slide is the flexibility when it comes to deployment. So you can consume Tab9 as a secure SaaS offering. So this includes like a like a single tenant SaaS as well as multi-tenant SaaS, or you can do a private deployment of Tab9. So you can deploy Tab9 on-prem in a VPC or in a fully air-gapped deployment. Next slide. Tabnine is recognized by many leading analyst firms. So Gartner recently published their critical capabilities report for AI code assistants. And this report is important because it provides deeper insights into a product's capabilities across 5 different use cases. So in this report, Gartner evaluated 12 vendors, and we are proud to share that Tabnine was ranked first for the code generation use case, the code debugging, and the code explanation use cases. And Tabnine was ranked second for the code modernization use case and artifact building and testing use cases. In addition to Gartner, Tabnine has also been recognized by Everest Group. So Everest Group is one of the most famous research agencies, and they recently published their Innovation Watch assessment for generative AI applications in software development. And in this report, they evaluated 14 vendors, and they categorized those vendors into 4 different categories. Tabnine is featured as a luminary. So luminary is the highest category that they have in their assessment. So that's like another recognition. And then lastly, Tabnine is recognized in Omdia's market radar for AI-assisted software development. Next slide, please. Okay, so that was like a brief overview of Tabnine. Let's switch gears and focus on today's topic. So we'll be talking about AI's impact on software development. We'll be talking a lot about Tabnine's new code review agent. So we'll be talking about what it is, why we introduced it, how this agent works, and then also see a live demo so you can see the agent in action. All right. Okay, so when you think about generative AI, you typically think about AI's ability to create materials based on inputs and prompts. We see this in action in software development every day. So you have AI code assistants such as Tab9 that are used extensively by developers for use cases such as generating code, creating documentation, explaining code, and so on. And this approach has resulted in massive productivity gains. Here are some stats from an independent study that was conducted by companies such as BCG and McKinsey. And this study showed that developers who are using AI, they have seen a 45% time savings for code generation. And I think it was like 50% time savings for the documentation use case. Similarly, developers who were using AI were able to complete 30% more high complexity tasks as compared to developers who didn't use AI. And then lastly, developers using AI were more satisfied and more happy in their job. This was like a 2x increase in developer satisfaction as compared to developers who didn't use AI. Next slide. So just like AI can create materials based on input and prompts, just like AI can write code just like humans, AI is also capable of reading code like a human. So this means that the greatest contribution of AI in software development might not be in writing more code, but in helping us improve the code quality, security, and compliance. There are a few AI tools out there that can help with code validation and code compliance, but these tools are fairly generic. And by that, I mean these tools often check the code against some predetermined generic standards. This approach might work if you're working on a small hobby project, but this approach definitely does not work in mature engineering organizations. This is because mature engineering teams are unique. They have their own unique and intricate ways of creating software applications. And for AI to have any meaningful impact in increasing the code quality, security, and compliance in these teams, it's critical that AI has a deep understanding of the team's unique ways of creating applications. Uh, Next slide, please. So this was like the motivation behind creating Tab9's code review agent. So Tab9's code review agent, this is the first of its kind AI software validation agent. It enables you to produce code that is of higher quality, code that is more secure. The agent leverages and enforces your unique standards for software development, and this helps ensure the code compliance. Let me use the block diagram on the right hand side to explain how the code review agent works. So to use the code review agent, you need to provide us your institutional knowledge. Your institutional knowledge. So by institutional knowledge, I mean your unique standards for coding, best practices, corporate and team policies. When it comes to the format for this institutional knowledge, we offer complete flexibility. So you can provide us your standards in plain language. So this could be a Google Doc, a spreadsheet, a Confluence page, PDF, you name it. So you can like have your standards in, let's say, English in these places, and you can like provide that to Tabnine. Tabnine will take this information, enrich it, and create comprehensive rules for software validation. Alternatively, you can also connect Tabnine to your code repos. So you can connect Tabnine to your golden repo. So this could be a repo that acts as a gold standard for creating high quality, secure code in your organization. And Tabnine will extract information from the PR comments, look at the code patterns, and then create rules that are create like these comprehensive rules for software validation. In addition to giving customers the ability to create their own rules, we also provide a lot of predefined rules in Tabnines. These predefined rules are for industry standards. They are for like various languages and frameworks, and we have so we support like all the major programming languages with the code review agent. And for each of these languages, we have like over 140 predefined rules. The other thing to note is that like all these rules in Tabnine, the customer created rules as well as the predefined rules, they are in plain English. So this makes it easy to review the rules. It makes it easy to understand them, like add new rules, and then maintain these rules over time. So that kind of like describes like how the rules engine works here at Tabnine. And then the code review agent, what it does is that it checks the code in the pull request as well as in the ID. So when a developer creates a pull request, the code review agent is going to check the code against your set of rules. It's going to flag any deviations to the code reviewer, and then also provide suggestions and guidance on how to fix the issue. Similarly, the code review agent works in the IDE as well. So as a developer, when you invoke the agent, the code review agent will review your code. It will offer what will like flag deviations inside the ID, as well as offer suggestions on how to fix the issues inside the code file itself. Uh, Next slide, please. So wanted to use or wanted to like show a few screenshots of how this functionality works, and then we'll see this in live action when we do the demo as well. So this is an example of what we need from customers for the institutional knowledge. So this is again like a simple spreadsheet, and you can see that the coding standards or the rules they are in plain English. So this is pretty much the input that we need from Tab9 for you to, or input that we need from you for using this code review agent. If you go to the next slide, Chris. And what Tabnine does is that it takes that information, enriches it, and creates these comprehensive rules for software validation. So here's our rules interface, and as you can see that like each row over here, it is a rule for software validation. And what we have done is that the simple description that was provided by the customer, we enrich that information, like elaborate on it, and then in addition to that, also add various different fields. So this includes the rules ID, you can see the category, there's like a field for language, good examples for coding, bad examples for coding, and so on. So we'll see this like in the demo once we get to that portion. Next slide. And here's an example of how the code review agent works inside the pull request. So you can see that in this particular case, the code review agent has flagged a rule. So it lists the ID of the rule that is being flagged. It provides a description or provides more information on what the violation is, as well as offers a short description on why the code violated the issue. And then more importantly, if you look at the suggested revised version, so this is where the Tab9 code review agent is going to offer you suggestions on how to fix the code. Next slide. And here's an example of how the code review agent works inside of the IDE. So the developer, as you're coding, you need to like invoke the code review agent. The agent is going to flag any deviations. You can see those deviations in on the left hand side over here. And for each of these deviations, Tab9's code review agent offers a suggested fix. This fix shows up directly inside your code file as a diff. So this way, it's easy to review what's suggested by Tab9 and accept it. Next slide. So, as far as the benefits go for the code review agent, it enables you to produce code that is of higher quality, code that is more secure, and code that follows your organization's best practices. Uh, we support all the major programming languages and frameworks with the code review agent. So, this eliminates the need to have static code analysis tools, which often specialize in a particular language. The other thing to note is that the code review agent, it reviews the code just like a human does. So this drastically reduces the number of false positives and false negatives that you typically get with code review that you typically get with static code analysis tools. It reduces the time and effort of senior engineering team members. So time and effort involved in reviewing the PR that goes down. So this way, senior team members can focus their time on other important business initiatives. It results in faster code review cycles, and it also results in faster onboarding, so faster time to productivity for new engineering hires. Next slide. So, in just like in real life, even in AI, context is everything. Without context, AI is going to provide you recommendations which might be accurate, but these recommendations are going to be very generic and does not very helpful. So, with the code review agent, we are extending Tab9's personalization capabilities by enabling you to provide direct or explicit guidance to how Tab9 behaves. So in the past, you could provide Tab9 implicit guidance. So by that, I mean Tab9 would leverage the locally available code and data in the IDE. Tab9 would leverage the information in your code bases, use this information to guide its output. So this was an example of like implicit guidance. So now, in addition to this implicit guidance, you can also provide explicit guidance using the code review agent and ask Tab9 to like enforce those guidelines as part of the code review. So this combination of implicit guidance and explicit guidance enables Tab9 to behave like a fully onboarded member of your team, and has like that way, like Tab9 has like deep understanding of your code bases and provides recommendations that are highly personalized and highly tailored to you. Next slide, please. All right. So without further ado, let's see the code review agent in action. Hey, Chris, you are on mute.
That'd be great if you could hear me, right? All right, sound good? Awesome. Okay, so let's see this code review agent in action. So we're going to start here within the rules interface. And this is where you will see the predefined rules by Tab9, as well as any rules that align with your unique standards that you upload. They will be stored here as well. And Tab9 Enterprise currently comes standard with a set of rules that we have gathered, evaluated, and implemented based on software development best practice from leading voices in our space. So within this rules interface, you can visualize, fine-tune rule sets, allowing you to view good and bad examples of each rule and determine what is public, on by default, and enabled, so on and so forth. Additionally, users can filter by severity, language, email, and ID. So let's talk about adding new rules. As Shantanu previously alluded to, all you need to do as a user or a customer is send us the rule description in plain English. It can be in an Excel sheet, for example, and Tab9 will ingest and create the rest. Tab9 enriches each rule, adding elaborate descriptions of good and bad coding examples, etc. Right? So it can be a upload of a simple description here, and we'll handle the rest when it comes to adding in good and bad examples. Now, for users to upload new rules themselves, it's as simple as clicking this Upload New Rules button. Administrators can navigate over here to determine what language this applies to, as well as what rule type it is. Right? If it's based on if it's organization-wide or it's a user-based rule, They will then upload this file, text file here, or JSON file, and Tabnine does the rest, right? We enrich the rule and fill in the rest of the information. And additionally, the other way you can do it, as Shantanu says, by connecting your repo. And Tabnine will evaluate, analyze, and create a rule set based on your code base. All of which, though, is not it's not set in stone, right? You can change, and all of this stuff can be configured post generation. So as a Tabnine administrator within here, you are also able to determine which rules are active and being enforced as well. So this is the rules background, but when it comes to, or the rules interface, but when it comes to the developer flow, let's see what that looks like, right? So this is just a good example I like to use of a PR here as a engineering manager. If you're reviewing PRs or a developer, when a developer makes a PR, and you're an engineering manager and you're going in to review the code, what you'll do here is this code review agent will compare the code in the PR or MR against your rules and flag deviations and offer suggestions to fix that code. So if we scroll through here, you can see that there is the rule that is violated, the to-do here that gives more color on what's going on, and then the suggested revised version. It also outlines, explicitly tells you what file this is within your project, as well as the specific lines that are under scrutiny. So, as you go through here, I mean, it'll catch some. For example, a really big one that I like to point to is this hard coding sensitive information in your code. I mean, it's a unfortunately common mistake, right? And it's a catastrophic no-no. So it shows you, for example, this is the file that it happens. This is taking place, and here are the lines of code. Here's what's being violated, and here's the fix. And let's see here. I'll just show you one quick demo. When it comes to doing a pull request, right, you are able to, as an engineering manager, you would come in, you would compare your branches, you would view your pull request, and you could see here that these are each of the violations and the suggested revision. One last piece I want to draw attention to within each of these pull requests, and when the agent's at work, it will also generate this Tabnine PR report. And this is awesome. This is just a high level overview of what was found, right? So we found there was, critical issues, errors, warnings, and suggestions. We found one critical issue, found 2 errors, 4 warnings. This is just a nice high level analyzed summary report, if you will, of each PR that comes along with the review. But I would say that's it for the demo. So we have the rules interface here, and then we, and this is the actual flow that an engineering manager would see when the code review agent is active on their side. And then I will go back to you, Shantanu.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like the last slide, and then we can open up for Q&A. So the code review agent, it's in private preview right now and available to all Tabnine enterprise customers. So if you're interested in getting access, reach out to our support team, and we can set this up for you. And the email address for the support team, it should have added over there, is I think it's just support@tabnine.com. So fairly straightforward. Any code conversion available, like Power Builder or Power Builder to Angular? Not with this one. Not with the code review agent. This is mainly for reviewing and validating your code. Is Bitbucket supported by this agent? It's on the roadmap. So right now we support GitHub, and the 2 other providers that are on the roadmap are GitLab and Bitbucket. So coming soon. So this is currently in private preview. So if you're a Tabnine Enterprise customer, it's available to you. Just reach out to our support team, and we can get this activated. As far as a general availability launch, I would say like sometime in the next month or two. Can we use it to pre-commit to GitHub? Uh, Not sure. Need to check in with the team on that one.
That is another good question, Joe. We can get back to you on that one as well. I am not sure on the editor config file.
Is there a supported integration with Azure DevOps pipeline? So this is another platform that the team is exploring, like our product team. It has definitely come up, so it's on the roadmap. It's just not sure. I'm not sure about the timeline yet. How many programming languages are supported by Tabnine? So I'll kind of like answer this in like two layers. So when you use Tab9, like the Tab9 protected model that we have for chat, we support over 600 programming languages and frameworks. And then for the code review agent, we are currently supporting a handful of them. I think there are like 10 or 12 programming languages that we currently support. But the plan is like once the agent hits in GA, that number is going to significantly expand. How do you generate rules from a code base? So again, this is something like part of it is our secret sauce, but the way it works is that like once you connect Tab9 to your code repo, like Tab9 will look at some of the common PRs, the comments in them, look at some code patterns, and use that information to create rules. How does Tabnine move from context to connection? Is any setup required for this integration? So that's a good question. So let me just like for the rest of the audience, let me just kind of like explain what context and connection means. So context is so both context and connections are ways in which you can provide additional like context to Tabnine so that it knows more about your world, your environment. So context involves the step in which Tabnine leverages locally available code and data in the ID, and Tabnine uses that information to guide its output. There are, I think, like 14 or 15 different sources of information that we use for getting this local context. So this includes open files, open comments, any projects that are added, and so on. So context, it's in in the chat environment, it's enabled by default, and it's something that you can switch off. Like, isn't it, if you feel that like you don't want to index any files, you can like switch it off. So that's context. And then to move for connection, connection is in addition to this local context, you can also connect Tabnine to your global code repos. So like your code bases for the organization. So this is a capability where I mean it's obviously like off by default, and then you have an option of seeing that, hey, like this is a repo that I want to connect Tabnine to. So that's kind of like how the flow works, where uh, the connection capability that's like off by default, and then you as a Tabnine administrator have an option of connecting Tabnine to the repos that you want. So one thing to note is that connections capability is in private preview. It should be in GA relatively soon. So just one call out over there. So Tab9 usage is based on user license. How does this code review agent works? Assume a repo is used by 10 developers. To enable this code review, all 10 users should have a license. Yes, I mean like to use the code review agent, you should have a license for Tab9. And currently in the private preview, the rules that are being set up are at an organization level. So like all the Tab9 users at that organization will have access to those rules. Once the product hits GA, like in addition to the organization rules, you'll also have like a filter for like, okay, like for this particular team, here are the rules, or for that particular team, here are some other rules. So we'll have like that team level classification as well. Is there a predefined rules library recommendations per programming language available? Yes, so that's a really good question. So we do both. We allow customers to upload their own rules. And then in addition to that, you also get predefined rules for various programming languages and frameworks. So like as I mentioned, for the code review agent, we currently support, I think, like 8 or 10 different programming languages. And then for each of those, we have like, I think it's like 140 or 150 rules for each of those languages. And once the product hits GA, like that number of supported languages as well as number of rules per language, that's going to go up as well. Can we also include some ESLint rules? Not sure about that. Chris, any thoughts?
Oh man. I would think maybe because it's JavaScript code. Um, I have to. I gut says maybe yes, but I don't want to. I don't want to confirm without doing the due diligence and making sure I have the right answer. But it is because it's in the JavaScript home. I would think so, but yeah, I would like to confirm.
Okay, so can Tabnine review agent evaluate rules?
There's a single file can take different changes from one PR and commit together. I am also not exactly sure on that one, Gunter. Um, from what I've been seeing, we've only been using, or the rules that we've been using in the rule interface that I've seen are primarily feels like a oh no, you could have, can it only evaluate on a single file, or can it take different changes in from different files? You can have a rule, I would imagine, that that covers multiple files, right? If there's violations in multiple files, it would catch each of those violations across each of those files, right? It wouldn't just be specific to one. A rule per file is not how it would work, right? If you have one rule, it would signify those violations or flag those violations along each file.
Yeah, so the plan is, so as Chris showed in his demo, when you look at the output in the pull request, in addition to identifying or like flagging the various different violations, we also offer a summary. And then in the near future, like all of this information will be available to Tabnine admin. So that way you can look at, okay, like what are, like, is there like certain trends that are that you see, like as in, for example, if a lot of developers are like hard coding API keys and other credentials, like that could be something that you can then act on. So like some of the data will be like, or I should like, a lot of the data or all of the data will be logged and will be available to Tabnine admins in the near future. To reviewing existing, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I understood, the private beta uses GPT-4o Mini for the review agent. Will the review agent also be hostable on-prem? So right now, I feel you're right. Like as in, for the private preview, the review agent uses GPT-4o Mini as the underlying LLM. Uh, I mean, as an enterprise customer, if you have access to GPT-4o Mini, like a private instance of that, like we can connect to it. But the other option is to use it on enterprise SaaS. And then as we kind of like hit GA, will most likely like increase the number of models that are being available. Does this work with Bitbucket? It's on the roadmap. So currently we support GitHub, and then support for Bitbucket, GitLab is coming soon. How soon Bitbucket support available? No, I won't. I don't think I have like a hard timeline yet, but it's on our like immediate roadmap, I would say.
We are taking notes of all the Bitbucket questions and comments, though. So duly noted.
Is it matching English description?
Matching English description code.
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. And maybe let me take a stab at answering it. So, as a customer, all you need to provide is that short description in plain English as to what the coding standard is. Tabnine will take that information and then add many other things to it, like as in it will like elaborate on that description, also add in examples that are like a good way of like writing or like a good example for that rule or a bad example for that rule, so we can like pre-populate a lot of that information so that it's easier for AI to like flag like what is wrong and what isn't. But what we have seen is that like as in like in our internal testing, the number of false positives and false negatives, that's drastically lower as compared to static code analysis tools. Does it support Azure DevOps Server? No, not yet. How does the ID review work? So the agent, so this will be like one of the other agents that will be available in the Tab9 plugin. So we have like agents for Jira integration or like Jira review agent, or actually Jira implementation agent, Jira validation agent. You have like the AI chat agents. So this would be another agent that will be available in the ID. And the way it will work is that it will be it would be something that the developer has to invoke. So once the developer is ready to like review the code, the developer would invoke the code review agent inside the ID. And what the agent will do is that it will review the code against your set of rules. It will flag deviations which appear inside of the ID, as well as offer suggestions. And when you look at the suggestions will be in your code file itself. They'll be offered as a diff view, so that way it's easy to review the changes suggested by tab 9 and then accept them as needed. What is the licensing model for the agent? So right now, licensing model, I mean, it's something, it's a capability that's available for Tab9 Enterprise customers. So if you're an enterprise user, it's something that comes with that license. So for example, on Enterprise SaaS, it's like $39 per user per month. So as part of that subscription, you get many other capabilities, including the code review agent. And again, like another thing to note is that it's in private preview, so it's not going to be like available like automatically. You need to contact our support team and then we can like work with you to get it set up. Is there a development environment integration for PyCharm? uh, so
What?
PyCharm, I believe it's, is it one of the IDs in the JetBrains family?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, like for the, so JetBrains families of IDs, like that's one of the IDs that we support. So like yeah, like as in that would be the integration for PyCharm.
hmm No, correct. Yeah, we do support um, PyCharm, the entire JetBrains family, right? So you have IntelliJ app code, Cleon, Goland, PHP Storm, Rider, RubyMine, WebStorm, PyCharm.
How about mixed code example, Python and Rust doing?
Python modules for so mixed code, Python and Rust. Um, I'm not sure on mixed code rules at the current state. It's the language has to be defined when creating the when creating the rules. I'd imagine. Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but I don't think that you'd be able to. You can't at this current point. You can't create a Python and Rust rule within the same rule. You could create two separate rules, one for Rust and one for Python, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can combine languages.
And then the other kind of like thing to add over there would be that I mean, like Tabnine, what we do is that we review the code against relevant set of rules. So, for example, if your code is in C, like we won't use the Python rules to validate that code. So that way, like it makes the process a lot more efficient. It makes the code review process a lot more faster. So that's like another like that's they're like we use like various layers to figure out which rules are going to be relevant. So we only check the code against those set of rules. Can I do a deep code review? Like, can it identify any complexity? I mean, we can try it out. I don't know if you have like done it yet. As I mentioned, like again in private preview, so early days, but something that we can like try out with the SE team.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, what cyclomatic complexity, I think the acronym is CYC, is sort of determining the stability and the level of confidence of a program, right? So it's a specific, like, I want to say like measurement, if you will, but that's a good question. Something we'll have to look into.
Yeah, so I think that's a good question, and one thing that we can that I can elaborate on is that I mean, when you are like providing us this coding standard, like you can like provide us like any rules that you have in plain English, but then when you're connecting to code bases, like what we are expecting is that like customers would connect us or would connect Tab9 to their to their code bases which are like these golden repos, right? So like theoretically, like these are the repos where you would expect the code is such that it's like it provides like the right way of like building high quality and secure code in organization. So that would like avoid a lot of these like undesired way of like creating code. Uh, Good question. Not yet, but we are exploring to make a part of this code review available on like non-enterprise tiers as well. So it's not available to non-enterprise customers just yet, but it's something that we are exploring as a product team. Integration with project management or CI/CD tools to enhance the connection phase with workflow context. Not yet, but it's also one of those things where, like, as the connection capability becomes available in GA, I think we'll have like more details on that topic.
Examples of this. Any examples of this picking up on code? Sorry, complex question. Trying to trying to let me see here. Any examples of this picking up on code that could be optimized? I'm sure that you could have rules that look for areas of optimization. I'm not sure. I know that there are rules that we currently have that look for optimized or look to optimize or simplify um, code, not necessarily just like security violations or risk violations, right? So you can have it to look for optimization and simplification. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is a some good color to your original question, Gunter. Uh, we will take a pending and get back to you with a more detailed answer.
Does it have a semantic diff where you can ignore variable renaming and so on? So one thing that you can do is that you can like set the severity of rules, like warnings, like that could be like one way uh, to handle this. And I know we have like set it up so that it reduces a lot of noise, so that we don't get like errors on every single thing. We need to like look into details on how that works. I know we plan to expand the models or the underlying models for the code review agent. Right now, it's GPT-4o Mini. I don't know like what the new models would be and what the timeline is though. What advantage will it have over GitHub Copilot? So GitHub Copilot, I don't believe they have such a capability. So this is something that is unique to Tabnine, the code review agent, that not only has these predefined rules, but also enables customers to input their coding standards into Tabnine, and then like Tabnine reviews the code against these set of rules, flags deviations, as well as offer suggestions on how to fix the issues.
Yeah, just to add some more color there, I would say that the context and the personalization that we offer within the code review agent is really a strong advantage win value prop over GitHub Copilot.
Good question. I know we track. So we have like some color over there. Like so, we have two different versions of the plugin. Like one is for enterprise self-hosted, and then another one is for rest of the Tabline customers. Both get updated on regular basis. I know we like track and document things on the enterprise self-hosted on regular basis. Need to check in with the team on like where do we document the changes that are getting introduced on the the plugin that is available for the rest of the Tabnine users. Yeah, that's a good question. So it's something that we can like look into with the product team. Again, like as in it's early or like early days private preview. Like a handful of like enterprise customers are like playing around with it. So I think we'll kind of like have like more details on that as we hit in general web. Can we weed out this mess?
In my opinion, yes, you can create uh, you can create specific uh, rules. Let me see here. Biggest PR language changes. Yeah. Um, you could, I would imagine, yeah, you could flag and then offer. Um, you could flag any sort of change or language change and easily fix. As far as avoiding it, uh, I mean, I think it's relatively hard to avoid a language change if the actual syntax changes, right? That's a problem with itself. But let me see here.
So I feel like several advantages over linters. Like one obviously is, or like one is the false positives and false negatives. Those are like drastically lower in Tabnine's code review agent. Another one is the fact that we support multiple languages, so no need to have like, and linters often like specialize in like a handful of languages, so it's one tool that can like that can be used for various languages. The other one is there is no programming required to create rules, so it makes it easier to overall like expand rules, like add new rules. The rules are in English, which makes it easy for the rest of the team to like understand them, review the rules, and so on. But yeah, like one of the biggest advantages I would say is the reduction in false positives and false negatives. Compared to SonarLint, what are the upsides of the review agent? I'm not very familiar with SonarLint. I'm guessing it's one of the linters out there. So as I mentioned, like I mean, over linters in general, the advantages are the review from Tab9's code review agent is a lot more accurate. It reduces or drastically reduces the number of false positives, false negatives. Uh, the Tab9's code review agent supports multiple languages as compared to linters, which often specialize in like in one or two like programming languages. The other benefit is the fact that like you don't require any coding to create these rules, so it makes it easy to like expand rules as time goes by and maintain them and review them.
I'd also just add that Sonar Lint. I don't want to. It's a free open source IDE plugin, and for those who don't know, it's sort of comes from the Sonar uh, Cube sort of family, right? In my opinion, it's a very like baseline. It detects simple errors almost as like a spell checker. But when it really comes to, again, honing back on that uh, personalization and context, I mean, that's just something that you do not get with SonarLint. Um, Not even remotely the same sort of context and personalization. To be quite frank, there really isn't any, right? And I think that's one of the strongest points with Tab9, especially when it comes to the idea of reducing hallucinations, having more accurate, uh, you know, better code generation and recommendations. That's just a much better experience.
Yes, the answer to that question is yes. So, I mean, right now it's an organization level rules, but in the very near future, we're planning to add like team specific rules as well. So, one team can have like its own specific rules, another team could have another one for other projects. For local machine.
Works on local machine or works after git commit. Uh, I believe this also works. Yeah, so this obviously does work on your local machine. It also works within the pull request, merge request, git commit. So it's both. We have another question. Let me see here. VS Code plugin page. To find no details about what happens. So we. Oh, go ahead, Shantanu.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, we did send you over I think Amaya included the what's new docs page, but it's for individual VS Code, like that granular level um, of changelog for the plugin. We will have to track that down. I do not believe we have that publicly.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, like as in we have like two flavors or two versions of the plugin. Like one is for Tab9 enterprise self-hosted customers, and then the other version is for everyone else. So I know we document the enterprise self-hosted, like whatever is new in that version really well. I think we need to
Mhm.
check on the other version of the ID. Let me just put this in here as well.
Sure. Yeah, I don't believe it would be an issue implementing the same. I mean, it wouldn't be an issue. Quite easy to implement same rules across different projects or teams when we get to that point. Um, it won't be a complicated process. So as far as having scalable consistency across various teams and repositories in the future, that won't be an issue. It's a good question. Shantanu, did you by chance know the answer to this one?
Extension for VS Code. Not sure. Need to check in with the team.
Yeah. You know what? I am not sure either, Joe, but we can find out and we can let you know. We'll have to take a pending on that one. Small PR with a lot of noise. Okay. We want to go to the next question. But I agree, Joe. Yeah, we'll have to. That's a great idea, as Amaya said, for a Tab9 live session. We'll have to dive into, handing smaller PRs with a ton of noise. So any more questions? I appreciate all the questions that have been asked so far. There's been it's been a lot of really, really great ones here as well. So we really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, if we don't have any, oh, rather love this. On my open source GitHub, reach out. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. We'll be in contact with you. Well, I think if there's no other questions, Shantanu, should we wrap it up?
I think so. But thank you everyone for your time. Thank you everyone for attending. And yeah, like feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or if you have Tabnine Enterprise customers, if you want to try out the code review agent, like reach out to our support team.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And thanks for attending today.
Yeah. Thank you everyone.
Cheers.